All right, everyone. Welcome to the inaugural game of All Hallows League 2023. Starting off on some quick action right away with 555 on the Oni starting his chase against Bulbasaur. On the Survivor, gonna get hit immediately with that smash hit as he runs off into the distance, delaying that first hit as much as he can. That is the most important thing about playing against Oni here. He's gonna go ahead and find another Survivor on this gen. Looks like it got blown up. He's climbing up a hill, probably has balance landing. Survivors playing their exhaustions perfectly to avoid these giving over these first hits to the Oni. We're gonna be on a third Survivor at Shack, and chase begins. Let's see if this Renato is going to be dropping the God Palette immediately. He does not. We are playing this Shack out.
Yeah, another loop going to be bought out of this, so very good play here from La Magic here. Eventually is going to be dropped. 555, no slouch on the Oni either, bringing Brutal Strength along because knows that that they're going to have to just kind of brute force their first chase. You know, no power for quite a long time. You know, pallets are going to be dropped, you just break them as quick as you can, but in the meantime, still looking for the first hit. Bloodlust is going to be coming through here, does look like it is going to eventually be caught. Extra seconds going to be bought, but an actual whiff might actually buy time for Renato to get to the pallet, and it is going to happen. That whiff is absolutely huge. First hit going to be delayed even further. Breaking the pallet means Bloodlust is going to be reset, and back to the Shack we go.
Yeah, that whiff is going to cost him quite a bit, as Renato is just going to pre-drop every single pallet. We are getting some Bloodlust gaming coming in still. That might be the most consistent way to get a hit here, but it looks like we have some pretty safe pallets. He's going to have to drop them. He did bring the Brutal Strength for it. It's interesting to see the use of that perk. We've been seeing Oni on Cole Tower, where they're usually bringing Bam to close off that main window, but I guess for this map, he's not so worried about the windows. Gets that first hit in on the Renato. He's going to have to follow him to get his power or get another hit as two gens pop in the distance, and we're going to see if he can make up for that early game with a strong use of his power as he's still on the Renato's trail. Probably just going to follow him until he can get the rest of his power up here. Getting that first hit was rough as he does get his power in. But the problem he's going to have is, you know, do you want to waste your power on a survivor who's already injured, or is he going to look for someone else as another pallet goes down and another gen pops in the distance? He's going to have to get something out of this if he wants to pull this game back.
That's 3 minutes and 3 gens just absolutely polished off there. Has got no value at all from that Scourge Hook or the No Way Out either. It's going to be popping the power here. Does have that Akito's Crutch, the add-on to make him a little bit faster in power. So we are going to be seeing whether something can be done. That is a beautiful flick, and it's exactly as we said, you know, you cannot discount an Oni in power. Such big spikes, but the save is there on the pallet. Massive play from Eternal there. The team play really shining through here.
And that has to get in your head. You feel like you have such a good flick onto X-Eyes, but maybe he's just sitting on that pallet because he's got a teammate in the locker ready to save him, and that's going to kick him out of his power here. And he's going to have to find either more blood from where his first chase was, which he does. He does have the presence of mind to remember that, but he's not on anyone's trail right now. It looks like the injured survivor that was working at his pre left. No, it looks like he is still here. Uses his sprint burst to get away. We'll see. The chase is going to a TL wall, which is a pretty... It's not a great place to chase as an M1, against an M1 rather, but this is one of the safer places against an Oni power, all things considered. As the mind game comes through and La Magic is going to find a nice cozy corner to die in, buy as much time while we see his teammates doubling a gen in the distance, and probably the other one on a separate gen. But can we get a Scourge Hook? It looks like he is going to greed for us. He has to give up now. He was trying to get that Pain Res in, but the gen pops too quickly, and if there's someone working on a gen in the distance, it's going to get hit, but yeah, this is looking rough. No Way Out does trigger, but it's only a 24-second No Way Out. You know, he can camp La Magic to death here with power. There's not really a whole lot the survivors can do to prevent that, but, you know, they're probably just going to stealth out the No Way Out and then, you know, just leave. They can take a 1k3 here. That is a very easy win con to meet when they have to switch sides. But he does have a good line of sight on both gates from here in his power, but he's only going to have 40 seconds of this power. The survivors can just stealth elsewhere. So now 555 is going to have to make a decision. Do I want to keep camping the La Magic between the gates, Or am I gonna try and find the rest of the team stealthing out my my power here? It looks like he's trying to path in between them. But then what's gonna happen is this power is gonna run out before Lamagic dies on hook. So it is possible the survivors can try to make a hook save here if they can get the exit gates open without getting caught by this usage of the Oni power. I don't think he's gonna have enough blood to get it again.
Yeah, strange decision here to go so far away. You know, you're not maybe you're not particularly worried about being relatively nearby to the hook, just in range that you can dash on over, but going across the entire map, losing the power, and yeah, the unhook is going to come through, and if hits are taken here effectively, then it may just guarantee an escape. Fortunately, this exit gate was not done, so survivors are going to have quite a lot of distance cover. So 555 is going to be trying to pick up as much blood as humanly possible here, try and get that power back or something, but it may be for nothing. The gate is popped, and yeah, this one as well done right under his nose. Is that going to get opened in time? Just about. Renato going to escape quite easily, and that is a very clean 4-man escape coming through from Eternal here.
I mean, it seems rough, but he was going for a Hail Mary to try and get something in the end game there. You know, you can't fault him for that. I think it was not a bad call to make, all things considered. So yeah, we're gonna start this first set very strong for Eternal. Malice is gonna have to play immaculately on the survivor side in order to pull this one back. But we'll have to see what happens in the next game of this set.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be back with you guys very, very shortly for the Eternal Killer round. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back with you as soon as we can. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the DBD All Hallows Eve tournament. It's going to be our first match of the day, Eternal versus Malice, and we've just come off the back of a pretty disappointing performance from the Malice Oni, so only a single hook, and the first hit going to come through absolutely instantly. Ace getting caught out there, really strange. Before I could even finish my explanation, and Power's just going to be brought up huge, and going to be just getting this first down. Just no power, nothing like that. Already has the agitation, so the Scourge hook is going to be coming in early. And this is night and day difference from what we just saw in that last match. And basement hook going to be coming in, so no Scourge hook necessarily, but even still, I don't see a world in which this Ace doesn't go to at least second stage here, so early in the game.
Yeah, and the win condition is just 3 hook stages. The Oni can honestly just camp basement here, and then it's lights out. And this is such a snowbally set. You know, the outcome of the match is decided by that first chase. How quickly can you get your power? And in the first game, we saw an Oni struggle to get power. 3 gens were popped before it came in. And here, we don't even have our power yet, but that's because the down happened so fast. And now that he has his power, he just needs to get one more person down, and that actually would be win con, because it would be a second fresh hook. So whoever just pulled this save somehow has to get out of the basement against an Oni in power, and he's expecting the head on here. Yeah,
figuring it out, trying to maybe play the roulette with the lockers here, not getting the correct ones. It's find the survivor challenge, difficulty impossible apparently.
Oh, there's the head on.
Eventually
head on into firecracker
as well, but yeah, the dash going to be coming through. I don't think survivor's going to be too long for this world.
You know, honestly? Oh, and that's actually the win condition as soon as Nancy's hooked. Obviously, we're going to play the match out, you know, give it our best shot, but now we're going to get the pain res in, because we're going to have some gen progress we can interrupt. And it looks like the gen is right next to where the Nancy's getting hooked as well, so that's not what we want to see, but, you know, this is Problems team for sure.
Well, yeah, obviously Eternal's going to be racking up the win in this set already here. But I guess something that I'm interested in is I'm not entirely sure what happened with the ace at the start. Obviously, you can't ever, you know, attribute a loss to just a single thing or a single player all the time. But that being said, caught very off guard, getting hit early, and actually being downed at the TNL wall without power. That just makes things so bad, because now Oni has such a distinct advantage. They have a hook stage, they have a power ready to just camp it out, and you've lost the game. It's exactly as we mentioned. Games with Oni are often won or lost in just the first few minutes, and now Team Malice is going to be doing these gens a bit more as a formality than any kind of actual win requirement here.
Yeah, I think the first hit, the ace was a little bit confused where the Oni was coming from. It looked like he was looking in the opposite direction from where the Oni was approaching. And then the second hit was just a mind game at that tile. There's no pallet at that tile, so we kind of had to go for it. Obviously, in that first game, we saw a bunch of pallets just being dropped immediately. And the second game here, yeah, this is this tile. So we get power again, and they're going to go for the pull. But Oni has plenty of time to try and get the rescuer down as they run off to the fun bus. This is a bit of a rough tile to run, and it looks like do they have the strong versions? They don't have the strong version of the fun bus. Pallet's gonna go down. Sav takes chase, but there's still a good probably 40 minutes on this Oni power. So this is gonna be really difficult to run out. There's no pallets left in this area. Sav's gonna go down. And we're probably going to see him put back on that same pain res hook right next to the gen.
Did you say 40 minutes on the Oni power?
Correct. So he has 40 hours. sorry, 40 seconds.
Honestly, with Bubbo playing Oni, it can kind of feel like 40 minutes of power, you know? Just constantly having it up, has the add-ons to, you know, just boost that uptime even more, getting the first hits in early, and it's just over, and now Ace is just chilling in the basement for
honestly
some
respect.
reason, I guess.
No, it's actually 5-head. You know, if you hide somewhere they never expect you to be, because it makes no sense, they won't look there, and it actually works.
I've never heard a more real statement.
Yeah, that is. We have oof. Yeah, we have real splintered hole value right there. You see just all of the blood just chilling out there anytime you're injured against Oni. And we're seeing here also, there are just no good healing perks left up. Right in the face goes down Nia. Yeah, this is rough.
Yeah, just like moths to a flame, Malice are just, you know, falling into the waiting arms of Bubbo's gigantic club, going down to it easily, and this could potentially turn into just a general 3 or 4k. Win condition has been far and away met, but Bubbo doesn't really want the easy way out here. Wants to, you know, see this one out to the bitter end. Probably try and make a statement here for Malice, get in their heads a little bit with a very dominant Oni performance here.
I think, to be fair to the Nia there, it seemed like she was trying to run far enough ahead to get behind like the barrels, so that the Oni can't like flick around it. That is about the only safety you can get, is to try and lose something like that, but didn't quite make it. So now we're gonna have Shack pallet dropping, Bubbo looking up like, why did I hit that instead? Chase on to Ace again. I believe Ace might be dead on hook. I don't know, as Claudette's taking chase the fun bus here. She's not going to make that window and is going to go down right away. But he has enough time in his power left that we see one more healthy survivor. He has time to chase that. And the Ace is probably going to try to abuse this hill into the Shack vault. That is such a gross setup, yeah. Bubbo's like, I'm not playing with that. Just going to go ahead and hook Claudette instead and revisit that Ace later. He's got a bunch of blood at this gen. He'll probably be able to get his power back up and resume.
Yeah, Bubbo just making it look so easy here. Has the power back again if wants to go further. This gen over here is about to be done, but there's really so little actual pressure that the killer feels, and well, Ace is taking the Oni on a trip down to, you know, see the cool things in his basement, and Oni doesn't care, just wants to, you know, get out, be done with this, try and down the Nia. Is going to be running straight over to the gen. Sprint burst is going to be coming out to maybe buy a little bit of time, at least allow access to this all-in war here, but it's all going to be for naught, and that is, well, that's all the downs. That's the game. Bubbo with a absolutely dominant performance here on the Oni, going to be putting Eternal up 1-0 in this series.
Wait, I think we might have seen flip-flop on one of these survivors. It would be very interesting if they could manage to wiggle out, but Ace over here being the basement inspector, he has spent first hook in the basement, now his second or third hook in the basement, hiding in the basement. I think he's, you know, found a nice home here.
He's been reunited with his love, and it's the basement hooks, you know?
Yeah, I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's some kind of relationship they just can't seem to get out of for whatever reason. But it's a very sad one, a bit of a disappointment there for Malice, but we kind of knew that this is how the game would go just based off that first chase and how short it was. Bubbo really getting value there from the agitation pick. Didn't end up needing any extra, you know, chase perks or regression perks or anything to get that initial down. I don't even think used the brutal strength in that first chase at all. The down was that quick, and able to get over to the Scourge hooks to get that slowdown in and just use all of that time. You give Bubbo the time, you give him the space, and he's going to absolutely demolish the competition, which is what's happened here in this set.
And honestly, though, if you're survivors of Malice, getting a 4K2 after how tragic that start was is a pretty solid recovery, and they should be able to feel reasonably confident going into their next Survivor game in the Wraith set, which we will be right back for that, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Set 2, Game 1 of Eternal vs. Malice. Bulbasaur returning on the killer. We've got Wraith on RPD West Wing. Very hype matchup. The survivors of Malice going to be looking to take a set win after the Oni set didn't quite go the way they wanted. So we see Bubbo is going to be checking all around the map to find these survivors. Looks like they're just going to be trying to stealth out, and we find Ace upstairs. You know... And he's going to go ahead and take this pallet. But does he make a second loop around? Is Bubbles mind gaming it into the hit? Rough couple minutes for the Ace here. As we're going to have another...
Yeah, great mind game there coming out from... Great mind game there going to be coming out from the Wraith. We do have this pallet here. Going to be dropped instantly. The stun is beautiful. So fair play there from Ace. Just going to be buying more time. But with these add-ons to decloak and uncloak faster, Bubba going to be very happy to just continue utilizing this cloak, utilizing that speed boost in the chase. And we think about how to use this pallet, but unfortunately Ace thought wrong here and is going to go down for his troubles.
Yeah, I mean, just like we see on DDS, which is where we normally would see Wraith, these are not really safe pallets against Wraith. Once you get that uncloaked movement speed, you've got a couple of God pallets on this map, but unfortunately for Ace, he wasn't on the side of the map where much of those were, as Nancy manages to stealth past the Wraith. We are going to see Pop Goes the Weasel coming in as Nancy sprints for that save, and they're going to have to find a way to get to a safer part of the map. As Chase is going to go onto the Nancy, it looks like. And they are both bolting for that God pallet at the top of the stairs, most likely. But Nancy's going to have to play this window as Ace goes for the God pallet instead. Bubbo on his trail. We're going to drop that quickly with Shadow Dance as Chase goes back onto the Ace on the unsafe side of the map. He's not going to be long for this world unless he can get some very, very good pallet stuns right here.
Yeah, speaking of safety, this pallet is not one that you want to be playing against a Wraith here. Obviously, making some time out of it. Every single second counts, and we'll be buying time for that gen that did actually get hit with Pop Goes the Weasel to, you know, go off. And another one going to be done in the very far corner of the map as well. So, good play from the survivors. Time has been bought here by the Ace, but a second hook stage is an undeniable disadvantage to be at as the survivor team. And obviously Sloppy as well going to be coming out from the Wraith, meaning that this healing is going to be a lot slower. Right now, no pressure on the gens, just the way the Wraith likes it, and going to be actually finding the healed up survivors as well, or at least the Claudette. Just going to be ignoring it, trying to look for juicier targets, chill around the hook to probably just, you know, tunnel the Ace out of the game as quick as possible.
Yeah, I mean, we are seeing some... how the map makes a difference here. You know, if this was on Dead Dog Saloon like we normally see, then the Wraith would be bringing Bamboozle most likely, right? But this isn't a map where he has to worry about too many strong vaults, so he's able to bring in this extra regression perk. And, you know, as Claudette goes in for this 1-for-1, we're probably going to see a tunnel onto the Ace. No, we are going to go ahead and take another pain res, may as well slow down those gens before taking Chase back onto the Ace. But in that last chase we saw with the Ace, one of the things that came into picture is, well, the Wraith has Shadow Dance, so once you drop that God pallet at the stairs, Shadow Dance breaks it, and then you don't make anything else, so he did have to go back to the unsafe side of the map. As this last God pallet gets dropped, Ace has to fight for his life to try and get away from the Wraith, but these pallets are just so rough to play. He has to be playing for stuns here if he wants to get anywhere, and he's playing it on ping 2, I believe. As this is an NA versus EU match, yeah.
Yeah, Ace bringing up the very nice mind game here of standing completely still and doing nothing. It seems to be very effective here. He's actually buying the time almost to get to the stronger pallet, but is going to be injured anyway. For the people was used here from the Nancy to buy more time for the Ace, but Bubbo is absolutely relentless in this chase. Sees the victim and, you know, wants this kill real bad. There is a lot here for Ace to work with. This side of the map hasn't really been utilized, so there is going to be a lot of time provided. We just need to see where the rest of the team is able to effectively pressure the gens, as a little bit of invis action is going to be taken out of the Ace here, and that is going to be our first kill of the match coming out onto the Ace. Gens, well, we're going to need to see if any of them get popped soon, because you really need it for you know, the value of losing this Ace here.
Not only the Ace, but a lot of these pallets have been dropped, including most of the God pallets. And it looks like there is a relatively close cluster of gens on the east side of the map, but Wraith is capable of traveling relatively quickly. The elevation does matter a little bit, but this chase down on the Nancy, and there's going to be a pain res on her as well if Bubble can make it anywhere, but he's going to opt to leave and check on these last couple gens. I don't think he's going to care about that one off in the distance on the west wing very much. As long as he has these 3 other gens relatively untouched, he's in a pretty good spot. And it looks like none of the gens have any progress whatsoever. So if he can just keep getting these downs relatively quickly, Paco's the Weasel's going to come in clutch. And what are the other survivors doing? See, Nia stealthing near Ace, or the Claudette's also stealthing. But I don't know what Claudette is looking to do here. So it looks like we're going to see a pick onto the Nancy relatively quickly here, and then... Does he have a pain rest? He's probably going to avoid using his pain rest hook if he can help it, I think.
Yeah,
because he knows he's not going to be back out of it.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be a better play here. You've already checked on all the gens, and you don't particularly care. As we've said, this map is one that lends itself quite well to those 3-gen situations. Cut the map in half and try and control them. Not quite as bad as it could have been with this middle generator near the bottom of the stairs getting completed early by the survivors, but still quite a lot of map control that Bubba possesses here. And Claudette is still crouching in the library. I think she's looking for something new to read. I'm not really sure. A lot of time here being wasted, not really pressuring anything out, but the moment that the pressure does come out, you're just going to get body blocked and, you know, eventually hit. Bubba going to be taking his time with that one as we start the chase here. There is still the pallet up in the library to use, but it is going to be dropped very quickly, probably forced the break early. But Bubbo did actually bring along the break add-ons, and not even going to need them, not even going to need that extra kicking speed, just going to play the loop as it is, win out that chase, and that's just even more damage done to the side of Malice.
Yeah, and this is one of the more awkward hooks to try and get to, because you have to go upstairs for it. But like, this is such a rough position for Divers to be in. They just don't have the ability to get enough gen progress. Nancy's caught out in the street. She's gonna pre-drop the pallet, but you know, once that pallet goes down, she does not make anything. And yeah, she's gonna go deeper into the rest of the map, but I guess she's gonna try and make that desk pallet, but she will make it. So Bubbles just gonna go back to the hook and see if he can catch out the Nia. And it looks like he will. There's no pallets left over here. They've already been used. Nia's going to take a tag here. And this is such a good position for a Wraith to be in. You've got every survivor injured. You've got Sloppy on them. They don't have any good healing perks to work with. And so it's so difficult for them to try and get to each other to save. Nia's going to go down. So the other 2 survivors are probably going to be trying to reset off in the distance as one last pallet goes down. This is so spooky to try and play, but I don't think... Well, Nia is going to win out enough 50-50s there to try and get to a different pallet, but unfortunately for her, this one is even less safe than the one she left. This is only a matter of time. Yeah.
Yeah, just about. Big lunge going to be coming through there from the Wraith, just... just wiping the blood clean off, and this is exactly what you want to be as a Wraith. The game has slowed to such an agonizing crawl. You stack your pop goes the weasels, you get your scourge hooks going, and especially the floppy on the survivors. Another fresh hook there, so more points just going to be coming in there for Bubbo. Just more fresh hooks, more stats on the line. Quick unhook is going to be coming through, but it's just going to be a trade, and yeah, Claudette going to be going down. Claudette, I think this is the second hook, so not
no, she's
quite...
dead.
Oh, Claudette's dead. Well, that's just Claudette trading life out of the game there. Really bad spot now for Malice, with survivors injured and the pop going to be coming through on this relatively progressed generator. It seems like Bubbo is in the driver's seat here.
Yeah, but there is room here for the survivors to get an out, because this is a map where the hatch spawn cannot be forced. So this can end up being a hatch game if Bubbo does not slug for the 4K, which he's probably going to. He just has to find an injured Nia. That's not that tall of a task for a Wraith to move around the map, as Nia is stealthing on the exact opposite side of the map. She does have Iron Will.
I was about to say, obviously you just mentioned how finding an engineer as a Wraith, how hard can that be? But the Iron Will obviously did get nerfed quite a while ago, no longer quite as strong as it once was, but if there's room to hide in this locker, maybe make some kind of miracle flashbang play, but it really does have to be a Hail Mary. It's either going to be a case of some Hail Mary flashbang play, or just kind of waiting in this locker. Just wait for your teammate to bleed out on the floor, and then see if you can get the hatch. Fun fact about RPD, it is the only map in the game with multiple floors where hatch can spawn on the top floor. So hiding in this top section here isn't even such a bad idea. But Wraith is getting... Bubbo gonna be getting pretty close to the... Yeah. Pretty close to the Nia. Pretty scary situation here. This is All Hallows Eve after all. We want some scene that seems like it's straight out of a horror movie, but just gonna be avoiding death there, the Nia.
Oh no, it is such a spooky position to be in as Survivor, because you have to avoid the AFK crows in the locker, but you've no idea when the Wraith is actually near you. So there's always that possibility that when you go to step outside of the locker to delay those crows, that's right when he's coming around the corner. You know? And Nia just has to wait for the bleed out to go through, as I believe the Nancy on the ground has already been hooked, so the bleed out will, so the bleed out would not matter as far as scoring is concerned. Bubba would get full kill credit if Nancy bleeds out, but he just has to find the Nia. And you can only barely hear her whimpers. We saw earlier Bubba was standing right outside her locker, and that was not enough to hear her. So Nia is safe as long as she's in that locker, unless Bubba wants to just start searching random lockers, which, you know, he could probably get away with doing that with Shadow Dance speed. But looks like he's trying to scan around Nancy's body right now to see if there's going to be a pickup coming in, but that is probably not going to happen this game.
Instead, it seems like Bubbo just happy to do some renovations here, I suppose. Might as well. There's just some block game happening, and just toying with the Nancy. Gonna be giving it up in the end. Just gonna be thinking, okay, well, just gonna be trying to think, okay, well, maybe I can just find the hatch before the Nia can. Probably just getting a little impatient, or just bringing him to the middle for potentially just a last Scourge hook, just to kind of emphasize something here. Just gonna let him wiggle off in the center. Here's the thing. These players are the pros, which means that a simple mind like myself cannot really understand what's happening here.
My suspicion is he doesn't want the Nancy to bleed out. So if he's going to commit for slugging for the 4K here, now his ideal world is to find the Nia and then have to hunt for the Nancy. Especially if he has any suspicion that the Nia has some kind of, stealth perk in play. So it looks like he's content to let, Nancy try and do gens while he looks for the Nia, but yeah, I'm not sure. She's still just hiding in the locker, so my guess is they've already committed that, all right, Nancy's going to die. Sorry about that. We just have to get the Nia out.
Yeah, just a single hook stage on the both of them as well. I'm not entirely sure. Are we going to be trying to actually chase down Nancy? Does look like it will happen, but looking around the whole time, checking for anything else. or there's just a standoff happening. You know, I don't think in the horror films it was, you know, Wraith versus Nancy. I think that was, you know, some other TV show. But yeah, that's what we're going to be dealing with today. Nia likely still just going to be hiding in the lockers at the same time, and yeah, just Nancy just going to be, you know, making friends with the killer, which is really nice to see. You know, in such a harsh world as Dead by Daylight, it's nice to see. You know, these friendly acts between the killers and the survivors. It's nice that they're getting along during the spooky season.
Now that is such a power move from the Nancy. Like, I mean, if Nancy just commits to work on a generator, there's not a whole lot that Bubba can do about this. Nia can just spend the rest of the game hiding in a locker, and eventually Nancy's gonna have to die if they don't want to give over another generator. And also, as long as Wraith is just standing next to the Nancy, then Nia knows, like, he knows exactly where the Wraith is, so he's safe to not be in the locker and save out those AFK crows. As once again, Wraith moves past Nia's locker, and Nancy gets back on the gen. I don't know. At some point, Bubba's probably just going to have to hook the Nancy and try and play for Hatch, which is unfortunate. At least he does have at least one hook on her, I believe, so having 4 fresh hooks does help with win con at least a little bit.
Yeah,
Nancy's gonna run to that corner.
Yeah, 4 fresh hooks as well as 8 hook stages. Not going to be a bad score at all here. Definitely, I guess we can just have a look at how Bubbo has played this match. Definitely, I think it's honestly the add-ons that have been key. You know, taking along one of them to uncloak faster in chase, just so that when you get on top of a survivor with yourself, you're able to get back on them as soon as you can, utilize that speed boost as effectively as possible. In the meantime as well, bringing along that pallet break. The pallet break add-on means, you know, you got a pocket brutal strength, and a traditionally weak chase killer becomes something pretty deadly, actually, as Nancy is going to go down again. We're going to see if Bubbo wants to let this one get bled out now, or if we're going to be doing things. Hey guys, guess what Nia's doing?
Back in the locker.
Nia's still in the locker! Oh, what a game. Hook is finally going to come through, so Nia has been put out of her misery in a sense, but even more time to wait here. If we're still dealing with Hatch RNG, still going to be waiting, if Boa's going to be waiting this out, it's not like Nia's really in a position to save that safely, and Bubbo knows this for sure, so it looks like we're just going to be in for more of a waiting game.
Yeah, it's the only hope they have to try and eke a little bit more points out of this. I am, however, eagerly awaiting for someone from TwitchChat to go ahead and make that bell curve meme where it's like, first game of Dead by Daylight, I should hide in a locker all game. Competitive Dead by Daylight, I should hide in a locker all game, you know? That seems to be the play here.
No, lockers are really bad because the killer can grab you out of them, and then it's just like the Chad competitive players. Like, I'm going to sit in the locker for 10 minutes and you can't stop me.
Yeah, now imagine that Nia just rounds the corner directly into the Wraith after all this time, and she finds the hatch.
Ooh, yes. So
all
it's
calculated.
going to be valuable points accrued here for. Valuable points accrued here for the side of Malice with that one escape, denying a couple of hook stages for the killer. But yeah, that was one of the more drawn-out games, the Dead by Daylight, that I've ever witnessed. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back very, very shortly with the Malice killer round. We're going to be seeing whether that one's quite as drawn out as this, or whether it's going to be, you know, a little bit more of a succinct affair. Don't go anywhere. We'll be with you guys shortly. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our first set of the day on the second map here, RPD. It's going to be Malice on the Wraith, going to have a go here against Team Eternal, try and pull something back, so it's a bit of an uphill battle to lead. That is going to be a beautiful burst hit onto Bubbo to help things out, however, I'm going to be running essentially the same build as what we've seen before, just a lot of slowdown, the Corrupt as well, in the early game, sloppy, pop, nothing that you wouldn't expect to see here. And yeah, a bit of an uphill battle because Team Malice had a goal on the Survivor side just before this, only able to get 3 generators completed. So the win condition for Eternal is just to complete 4 generators. And looks like Bubba's going to be a little cheeky here, just buy a little more time with the God Pallet before, you know, just continuing to run through. Pallets here, not so great on this side of the map, but there's certainly a lot of them. And that is going to be a nice hit down there, but is on the pallet. Going to be seeing about the pickup, but not going to be going for it. Going to be chasing off the Yoichi instead. Likely just going to be getting this first hit, and then probably just going back to see if a pickup can happen on the Claudette.
He might be worried that there was someone around the corner ready for that pallet save, but probably not. Like, he saw 2 people working on that generator up top there, and you know, there's not much reason why there would be someone hiding in the corrupt side, but it looks like he's opting to just split pressure amongst the survivors. We saw last game just how bad a state it is for the survivors once everyone's injured, and so now we're going to go ahead and have 3 survivors not healthy as the Wraith, I don't know how to say this name, looks to find the survivor that he slugged earlier. Is it possible she has... Sounds like she has tenacity. She's really quiet, and she got pretty far. So...
Quite possibly, and I think RNG with the Scourge Hooks here is going to be very, very important, because Scourge Hook at this early in the game would be absolutely huge.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there was some kind of play, a flip-flop or something like that, maybe a power struggle. Sorry, just flip-flop play, just to, you know, get off, because that was a very fast time to get off the hook. Yeah. Going to be going right back down instantly, but a gen is going to be lost for it. And maybe if the Wraith can't play his cards right, another one could be gone before the time he's able to put him on a Scourge Hook.
Yeah, that had to be tenacity flip-flop. There's no way she wiggles. And there's no power struggle in this, so at least he knows he doesn't have to worry about picking up on the pallet unless there's someone nearby. But gens are going to get cranking in the meantime. And also, crucially, where Claudette is hooked is not as central. So there's much less room that the Wraith has to pressure survivors on gens while protecting the hook at the same time. So Vittorio just takes chase away from the hook, away from the gens. Wraith is going to leave. We got that hit and run coming in. The classic, as the Wraith is going to either look for some more gens to pressure with his pop or potentially guard that hook. Exile's over here with the kitty perk from Ellen. I believe it's called Light-Footed and Iron Will. He is going to be one stealthy boy despite the yellow jacket.
very, very, very bright and visible in this game of, you know, dull colors and all of that. Going to be finding Bobo again, just probably going for the tunnel here, get Claudette out of the game as early as you can, but still quite a few pallets here to work with. Claudette actually just going to run past that one completely, go for a little bit of tech with the hole, but it's all going to be for naught. Pickup going to be coming through quickly. At least, didn't actually... Wraith wasn't able to actually get the Scourge Hook on that first hook of the Claudette. So it does look like we're going for it again. It's this top right one here, or maybe this central one here, perhaps. Not going to be the central one either, but still, just as you said before, a decent place to hook so that more pressure can come out. And obviously going to be very happy to pop that gen. Quite a lot of progress there, so good value coming in from the perks, as well as Yoichi trying to be very stealthy, but as you say, the jacket, you know, it gives it all away, you know, and is going to be taking chase here. Pallet is going to be dropped pretty quickly, but Wraith don't want any of this, wants to keep checking up on that hook. Claudette is the priority. Any other player right now is just a bit of a distraction.
Yeah, I mean, so we have survivors splitting on gens, so they know all they have to do is pop 3 more gens, and 2 gens are going to pop before Claudette can die. And then even in a 3v1, only needing to pop 1 more gen is pretty doable on this map. If they've split their gens properly, which it looks like they have, you know, I don't know that the Wraith can afford to actually camp this. I guess maybe he doesn't expect the other gens are as progress as they are, or that he can hold this last 3 gen, but does he have a 4th gen that's relatively close by?
Oh, that's so heartbreaking. Gets to the gen just as it pops. That could have actually been huge pressure. Takes one out of the game, and then also stop this gen from being completed at the same time. And that way you have to defend 2 gens against 3 survivors, which is, you know, difficult but not completely unachievable. But now there's only 1 gen left, and Vittorio probably doesn't even care about going down here. He's probably on comms just saying, hey, don't worry about it. We've got another gen that's 80% about to pop already. And so, yeah, phenomenal play here from Eternal, just splitting up, really focusing on the fundamentals, getting the gens done as quick as possible. It does seem like in that last map, Malice was just getting a little bit too distracted, getting focus away from what really matters in this game.
Something about Yoichi crouch walking in that bright jacket just tickles me. So it looks like Excise is stealthing to get that pull. Now he is found. I mean, I guess the survivors were waiting to get confirmation on where the Wraith was before going for the pull, but honestly, they don't even need to go for this pull right now. As long as Dan is working on a generator on the opposite side of the map and they pop that, they win. They can afford to let LeMagic die on hook, let Yoichi get chased. He can die on hook too, as long as that last generator pops. So looks like he's going to be taking chase opposite side of the map from the last gen, and there we go. That is win con for Eternal. This is going to be a 2-0 set as Yoichi does try and go for that 1-for-1 trade on the last hook. They can still play for outs, probably going to, as looks like the Wraith is going to go ahead and accept a 1-for-1 here. Trade offer accepted, but that is not a pain res hook, I think. Actually, no, it was?
Yes, that is a pain res hook, so again, regression going to be coming through, but as we've established, that doesn't really matter anymore. You know, Eternal have already won the game. This is all just for, you know, a little bit of practice now, a little bit of fun. We do have Vittorio here, going to be playing this central palette here. It's a little bit of a 50-50 generally, but it does look like Wraith going to be getting the better of that one, getting, you know, a consolation prize, another hook onto the Vittorio, barring some, you know, miracle, like Dan runs in, does a front flip, and then gets the pallet stun off or something like that. Doesn't seem like it's going to be happening, and but yeah, as we've said, all just consolation prizes. Eternal have already swept this series 2-0.
But are we going to see more locker gameplay?
I'd quit. I would quit right now if we saw more locker gameplay. Please, I don't want this anymore. This ain't what I signed up for, dude.
Yoichi has the build for it. Dan has the build for it. We could.
I have nothing more to say to you. I'm out of here, dude. Dan just gonna be being chased off here, but yeah, Wraith just gonna be visiting back the hooks, trying to get some pressure. Obviously, does look like Vittorio going to be body blocking here to actually, you know, take an endurance hit for the Yoichi. That's going to be wearing off very soon, and and that's the pallet mind game that you like to see. The pallet where you drop the pallet and just get smacked in the face anyway. Wonderful play there from, wonderful play there, but all for naught here. As yeah, I think Dan's probably just gone off as pressuring some other gen. This is, if these were different circumstances, this would be a fairly nasty 3-gen scenario, because I don't think there's any generators left on this side of the map that Dan is currently playing on. But obviously, that's not what needed to be done here. So yeah, as Dan just takes his chase here, probably just going to be trying to buy as much time as possible for Excise to maybe get the last generator done, as the Magic did end up going down in the end. But yeah, there's little more to add, really. Just great gameplay all around from Eternal. Really just splitting up, focusing on their wing condition, and you know, I think they won it on the killer side, to be honest, with a phenomenal performance from Bubbo on the Wraith.
Yeah, and honestly, if the Wraith plays this out properly, he's just gonna leave. He has the 2 lobby gens and one that's relatively close. This is not a situation survivors should be able to pop the last gen in. The Wraith should be able to play this out slow and secure 4K, except for, you know, maybe a hatch. But it's not going to matter since win con's already been met. But I would be surprised if the survivors do manage to pop that last gen, given what that last 3-gen is. And we're going to see... Yeah, we're going to see, is Yoichi going to be slugged in the same corner of the map as the Nancy was slugged before? No, and it looks like...
If we go to Dan's POV and he's like in like the shower room hiding in lockers, I'm gonna lose it, dude. That'll be the end. Fortunately,
good guy Dan. Not locker gameplay.
For all of our sanity, he is just gonna be doing gens in the middle here. Dan is just gonna get hounded down, chased out eventually, and it should be a 4K coming in for the Wraith. But yeah, once again, you just have to take this as a bit of a learning experience from Malice. A couple things just going wrong in both of these games here. I think the Oni game was lost very early on, but there was a genuine chance, even against Double on the Wraith, to bring it back around the mid-game, but they just weren't able to execute, unfortunately. So it's going to be back to the drawing room, a bit more practice, maybe need to come in, a little bit more time. Are going to be sent down to the losers round, so not out of the tournament just yet, but obviously it's going to be a big blow, you know, knowing that one more loss and you're just out of the tournament for good. Could be a pretty big deal for these guys.
On the other hand, you know, this was a relatively close set. Only one generator difference between the results, which is a massive step up from the tragedy of that first set. So Malice can be at least feeling like, well, we are improving going into that loser's bracket. You know, losing to Eternal is nothing to be ashamed of. And, you know, as long as the results are consistently improving, as long as the coordination here is improving, they still have a fighting chance to keep going further into this tournament, as all that is left is to wait for the last survivors to die on hook. No co being allowed, so this is just a waiting game until Jan hits seconds and the last survivors die.
Yeah, exactly. Just more time being burned off the clock here. Team Eternal just showing why they are so dominant, why they were the favorites coming into this matchup, and yeah, clean win. And I guess we'll see Eternal again another day to fight. You know, obviously Malice as well. Again, not out of the tournament just yet, but gonna have to take that one on the chin, get a little bit more work done. So congratulations to Eternal with a very clean 2-0 for our first series here of the day.